Peace, universe. Welcome to Sunday school. I was playing with y'all. Just wait for some people to come in the room. Yeah, cause I made a video about veganism, and we've been talking about the diet a lot, about what people should eat, or maybe what people shouldn't eat and stuff like that too. But I also wanted to just reiterate and remind people that that we still use herbs and stuff like that. You know, we still. And here's the thing: people want to throw everything out, right? Throw the baby out with the bathwater. But I actually just got back from a run. I went running around the block and did a little workout. So now next up, I drink some water, and I'm making tea now. You know, I'm making tea. So I want to show you some of the herbs I've been messing with lately. Here's one of them. This is called calendula. It's one of the herbs that I've been using. It's a flower. I guess herbology is kind of interchangeable. We call herbs a host of things. It could be flowers, it could be roots, it could be stems, it could be leaves. All these things constitute as herbs. It's not just leaves, you know. So even a flower is, you know, can be an herb. And in different schools of herbology, there's different things, you know, like Chinese medicine, they use different herbs that's local to that area. That's why I keep pushing and saying, get in tune with your environment, learn what grows in your environment, because that's going to be the most beneficial for you right now, because it's local in your environment, it's in tune with what you got. But if you don't, the next best thing is to get some wildcrafted from somewhere else, or get some organic from somewhere else that you know has some beneficial properties on the body. And I did want to talk a little bit about water, because there's so many fads going around with the whole alkaline and the pHs and the Kangen water, and most of it is complete just hogwash. It's not based in real science. And I just wanted to state that I think the best water that we could be drinking at this current moment in time, because we're not supposed to drink as much water as some people say, like nothing in nature is guzzling down gallons and gallons of water. You know, we do that as a form of trying to heal ourselves for a purpose, but on a day-to-day basis, we shouldn't be drinking that much excessive water. A lot of the water that we do eat should be coming from our environment, from our food that we do intake. So I recommend that if you have access to this, that you drink some distilled water. Now, I think the best chance for us to drink distilled water comes from distilling it ourselves. You could buy distillers where you fill up water and then it distills it through a process of steam distillation, which means that it's filtering out all the contaminants, and it's literally drop by drop dropping this unpolluted water. And you got to think about it. Rainwater is distilled water. The water that's in plants has actually been distilled by the plants themselves as well. So a lot of the food, water in the food that we're eating is actually distilled. So if we would to distill it ourselves, if we want to have drinking water, because we need to make up for some of it that's not in our diet, then I would recommend distilled water at the moment. We don't have a distiller, so we're using spring water. That's my second option. I think if you could find a good spring, something that's unpolluted and untainted, I think spring water is also a good option. The problem is that in water, not all water is the same, and not all water is pure, because something like seawater, you could taste it, that it's not just water, it's not the same as distilled water. Why? Because it has minerals in it. And a lot of these minerals, well, the minerals in spring water, they're actually not bioavailable to our body, meaning they can't be assimilated. Because like the capsules that they sell in the store that are vitamins, those are made from rocks, meaning they get big ass rocks and they ground them up into powders and put them in capsules. Some stuff like calcium, stuff like that. But these aren't the forms that the body uses. The body also the body uses the forms that come in animal foods or plant foods or anything that's food to us, that has already broken it down, used it, and then we can use it in our body. These minerals like calcium, magnesium, and all these electrolytes that come in plants and food sources that we get, that's how we get the minerals. So don't be too concerned about the minerals in the spring water, because a lot of those minerals can't even be broken down, and in fact they actually get stuck in your body. They create calcifications and they create buildup in your body, and that's when the distilled water comes in because it could pull a lot of those minerals, inorganic minerals, out of your body. Inorganic meaning they can't be digested and assimilated by the human organism. So anyways, that was just a fun fact about water. So I got some herbs, some of the herbs that I've been using lately to stimulate some of my organs. So I've been having like hasn't been a pain, but it's been a sensation around this area. This area is the liver and the gallbladder area, you know. And so I went to the pharmacy, the real pharmacy, and I got some herbs, and a lot of these herbs are for the stimulation of the liver and gallbladder. I don't believe that herbs really heal you, but I do believe that they can be used to stimulate certain organs, to release toxins, release stones, release things in that manner. And then we got to come and balance it out, because everybody's worried about taking out, but we also got to put back in nutrition. And with that, you want to do saturated fats for these parts of the body. The liver, and requires a lot of saturated fat. So saturated fat could be found in coconut meat, coconut oil, but it can also be found in things like scallops, salmon, and other things like that you could get wild caught, or you could get organic or something like that. But just whatever you have access to or feel most comfortable doing for yourself, just try to get some of those saturated fats if you are trying to rebuild that part of the body, But these herbs that I'm going to show you, these are more for cleansing and stimulating of this part of the body, which is the liver and gallbladder. So calendula is one of them. Here's a flower that is used to cleanse traditionally the liver, gallbladder regions. I have some yellow dock. And I'm just going to go through it briefly. I just want to show you. I don't want to get too deep into everything, but I have some chicory root. Hey, peace and wine smiles. My Sunday's going well. Just went for a little run, and now I'm just about to make this tea. I've been doing this tea every day pretty much, and just drinking it in conjunction with other things that I'm doing. No, Nana, that was a calendula. It's a yellow flower. I think it's from squash, but this is red blossom flower. There's another flower that's used. This one is actually more for lymphatic cleansing, but I'm including it in my tea, because lymphatic system, you want to be moving that and cleaning that out as well, because once the liver releases those toxins, you want to make sure the lymphatic system is right there with it to be able to move that stuff out of the body. And then we have something called Essiac tea. If you haven't heard of this, I just recently found out about this, that it's been used in Canada to treat things like cancer and stuff like that, but it's also a good lymphatic and blood cleanser, and it's a combination of herbs. Actually, it's a burdock root. It's got like 3 or 4 herbs in it. I don't remember too well, but they've been using it with a lot of success, I've heard. And then chicory root, which is a root, and it's been grounded up. So that's the tea I've been making. And what I do is I get water, or I put these things in my tea. I just put them in my cup, and then I put the water over it and let it steep for a while, and then I just filter out the big chunks and stuff, and then I just drink it. And sometimes I add some organic raw honey, which is really good for you as well. And so that's basically it. Before I start my day, before I eat anything, that's the thing I do. I want to hydrate myself. I drink some water, and then I want to cleanse myself using some teas. And then I'll go and do something like some a cacao drink. I'll do like a cacao, either a hot tea or a hot chocolate, or I'll do like a smoothie. So that's been it. It's pretty simple, Fernweed? No, I haven't heard of it. I remember Vibes, she got a little tincture from somebody here in Hawaii, and it was like local herbs. It was actually a combination of herbs that was like the kings were the ones that had access to these herbs only. It was like a blend that they used for the royalty in here in Hawaii back in the days, and it was really potent. I remember I put it on, I immediately felt something. I never felt something like that again. I thought it was just one time thing, but then I would do it again, and I would just feel like it's stimulating my body in some way. And I was like, that's a powerful formula, whatever's in there, but I know it's a lot of local, wild, harvested herbs, and so there's a lot of potency to that, But I just wanted to share that because, look, people think that either you're team vegan or you're team carnivore. It's like, there's so many tools in this environment that we could use, and you ain't gotta feel like you gotta have loyalty to one or the other. Your only loyalty should be to nature, That's my opinion, and If you haven't checked out the video that me and Serenity did, you check it out on YouTube. It's a really good video, and we got a lot of positive feedback from a lot of people who didn't feel comfortable sharing their journey. And it's like, I feel like people live in two different worlds. Like, there's people live in social media world where they tell the world one thing, but then they're living in their real life, they're doing a different thing, but they're too apprehensive about sharing what it is they're doing in real life with the online world, because it no longer resembles that character that they build up online. But we're just keeping it real. Like, we ain't got nothing to hide. This is our journey. This is part of the process of human this self-discovery, and we just keeping it real. Like, we're not gonna hide nothing, because at the end of the day, what's more important to us is coming in connection with ourselves, rather than trying to keep up an image for people out there on social media, because we already know that none of that shit is really real anyways, and most of the people is fake and jack. So at the end of the day, we're just gonna keep it real, you know. We're making it. Yeah, we're actually shopping Bag Shelly's. They asked if you're making a book. Yeah, we are making a cookbook actually. We're making a really dope, interesting cookbook, and I'm glad that we kind of opened up about our experiences and stuff, because it's given us an opportunity to be more open and liberal with what we're writing, including in the cookbook, because we were kind of feeling limited. Like, there was this whole community of people online who was like pushing veganism militantly, and we're like, wait up, hold up, like, we ain't part of that. Like, we don't want to be part of that. We're part of nature. Like, that's our guide. That's our compass is nature, you know. Not nobody online, not no YouTube yogis or Google gurus or social media sages, as I call them. None of that, you know. So we tuning into our own body and our own self and what we need, and at the end of the day, we know that that's what's going to be best for us. But we're writing a book, cookbook, based off I mean, I don't want to give too much, but it's just going to be very good cookbook. It's going to be really different. It's going to be different than what people are putting out. Like, I don't know if people, I haven't seen anything like this put out just yet. What we're doing and what we're, you know, currently in the works with, as far as introducing and showing people a way of eating through this avenue, you know. I haven't seen it yet, and if it has been done, I guarantee you it is not going to be done the way we're doing it, because we got we're, you know, varied in a lot of different fields as far as knowing different topics that are important to people, you know. So yeah, with that being said, that's all I'm gonna say for now, and just stay tuned for that, because it's for real, it's coming. Oh, it's herbs. I was just making an herb tea. I already kind of ran through the herbs that I'm using, but I was just showing people what my daily herbal practice is for right now. You know, I'm stimulating the liver, gallbladder area with some of the herbs, and then I'm also including more saturated fats in my diets, like coconut oil and stuff, for some of that nutrition and that refeeding and bringing back, because every time we take it out and we pull in, we also want to give back nutrition to heal that, you know, because a lot of times people just go too extreme and they, you know, they take away, and then they just sucked up, but they forget about the refeeding process, the process of reintroducing nutrition back into the body, the process of filling that body up with what it needs. Because even when you're fasting, and for instance, and it was interesting to me, I never thought about it, but when I used to fast, I used to go 40 days without food, right? And then when I would feed again, I remember trying to emulate mother's breast milk, because I was like, well, it's like I'm a baby again, because everything's clean, everything's empty, so now I'm reintroducing nutrients. So I looked at it like, it's like I'm a baby again, so how can I do mother's milk or replicate mother's milk? But I never thought, because I was so focused in on the vegan train, I never thought, what if I introduce some animal products for this portion of the refeeding process after I introduced, you know, some lighter things, but for this portion of the refeeding process to get some of those, because a baby eating breast milk is not vegan, because the mom is a mammal, and the baby's getting milk from this mammal. Yes, it's its own species, but nonetheless it's getting something that's not produced by plants, that it can't get from plants. That's why mother's milk has no replacement, because it's the best nourishing food for a baby, but it's an animal product. So yeah, you know, after a 40-day fast, I ain't gonna be breastfeeding, you know, I'm a grown-ass man. But what you can do is introduce some of those things temporarily, at least I would say, to refeed some of those things in the body that need to be regenerated, refilled from taking away from the process of cleansing that takes away a lot, and then having to put back in with the refeeding. I think that's another concept that has come to me lately, because I've become more open to nature, and opposed to just being in the box of veganism, being in the box of any dietary restriction. My mind is being open, and I'm just looking back into nature for real, and accepting what looks back at me and what reflects back at me, and just taking it for what it is. I'm not trying to make nature be something that it's not. I'm not trying to make tribes and cultures be something that they're not. They've been practicing it for hundreds and thousands of years even, and I'm nobody to tell them and feel entitled, because I'm living in a civilization where we cultivate fruits and vegetables year-round from other places in the world. I'm nobody entitled to be able to tell those people that they should be vegan, or they should be eating a certain way, or that they lost their culture, that maybe thousands of years back they were vegan. Like, I'm nobody to say that, you know. I do know what they've been doing for hundreds of years, and what they know, that they tell it and they show, and they live in testament to it. They're not out here sitting in front of a computer trying to tell the world what to eat. They're actually out there harvesting food and gathering food for themselves, and being that example in the world. So that's what's important to me. That's the path I want to personally go towards. Like, I know everybody don't want to go towards that. Some people just want to stay in civilization, be part of that. It's cool, but me personally, I'm on a journey to connect back to that part of myself, because I feel like that's where I reign supreme. That's where I have the most knowledge of self, and where I'll be able to be myself the most, and be authentic and be free in what I am, which is a organic human animal that needs to be in this natural environment. And that's just the way I feel about it at the moment, you know. So, but I'm open, you know, like always, I'm open to anything and any and all information and anything that comes my way. But there was a doctor named Weston A. Price, if you've ever heard of him. He went and traveled the world. He was looking for an exclusive vegetarian tribe. And he traveled all over the world. He went to South America. He went to, Indonesia. He went to all parts of the world. He was on a mission to find a vegetarian tribe, and he never, ever found one, because nature don't care about your morals and ethics. Nature is, when you're in tune with it, is a different thing than what we've been tricked and duped to believe it is. Because we don't know nature, and we come from urban environments. It's easy for somebody to sell us an ideology in nature, like, because we don't know about it, you know. So we're like, oh shit, that sounds about right. But once you get out there, it's a different story. And people who've been out there, they ain't worried about the dogmas and the religions and things that we create. They're actually living life and being an example and being really in tune with their environment. So I feel like that's the most important thing for me personally. Like, I don't care necessarily so much about the online community. Like, I'm not trying to impress anybody. I'm not trying to, I'm trying to do is be the best version of me, and be the best example for me and my family, you know. But do you think it is okay to kill a living thing, though? I do believe it's okay. I think because everything is living, and that's the problem. We discriminate between plants and animals. We'll easily take a plant, or we'll easily use fossil fuels that, destroy the environment, or even electricity that harnesses a lot of power from the planet without thinking. But when it comes to an animal, because it reflects and looks like us more, we have more compassion, because we're trained. One of the laws of nature is self-preservation, and we're trained to want to preserve ourselves. So the closer something looks to us, the more compassion we'll tend to have for it. But since plants don't look like us, and they don't have a nervous system, they don't react like us, and they're not like screaming in pain, we will take that from the environment without thinking twice, But indigenous cultures were animists. They believed that everything held energy. They looked at everything as sacred. They did not discriminate between the plants and the animals in their environment, and they lived way more in tune. But they actually lived in tune with nature, rather than a lot of these vegans or vegetarians or anybody in Babylon trying to teach humanity on what to do as far as what to eat. Yet they're not as in tune with their environment as these people were. So I am going to direct my attention more to the people actually in nature, in their environment, and what they did, and use that as a guide, to just model my life after, if I really want to be in tune with nature. That's why I said, do you really want to be in tune with nature, or you want to be in tune with Babylon? Because you want to be in tune with civilization. Civilization creates vegan. Civilization creates vegetarian, paleo, low fat, high fat. They create these labels nature don't do that. No, nature don't discriminate. It's just eating what's in its environment, and it's in tune with its environment. Everything is sacred. And when indigenous cultures, most of them, when they harvest the animal, it's sacred to them. They give thanks, they honor it, they take every piece of that animal. Why? Because they understood that that was a sacrifice that needed to happen, because the exchange of energy that's going on in nature. Everything, energy takes energy to propagate more energy. Life takes life to make more life. So until we understand that concept and we honor it, and it's not to say that you go out and just kill things for fun. That's a completely different other topic. You know, we're still conscious, we're still aware. We take only what we need at the time that we need it and nothing more, you know. But that's something that we're working towards. We're just becoming aware and opening the minds at this very moment, you know. And we have been open to consuming some farm raised free range eggs and stuff like that, and but haven't really did no meats and stuff like that, but you know, except some salmon, you know. But we're not really going that deep in. Yeah, we're just playing with the idea and jumping out that box, breaking those chains of the mind that try to hold us down and lock us into a certain perspective and box that we can no longer get out of once we truly need to, you know. So it's just that's what it's about. But it's a process, you know. We're learning and we're growing, and we're like just experiencing more, and at the end of the day, you know, the truth will reign supreme. Like I was making a quote, and it said, it don't matter how good something sounds, there's no replacement for the truth, you know. So no matter what somebody tells you, how good they sell it to you, and how good of a story they could tell about it, it's not a replacement for the actual facts, for the truth, you know. So don't get so caught up in how somebody says something or how they tell a story, because shit, I don't know, it's like a survival mechanism has emerged in humanity and civilization to be able to do what it needs to do to survive. And out of this have come people with slick tongues, people who can talk to you in a way that will convince you of something, who know how to say words and use their mouth and language to speak very eloquently to be able to sway you and convince you, you know. And so out of this has come a lot of hustlers, you know. You know, it's like the hustlers ain't in the city no more. They're now in the spiritual realm. The new hustle is spirituality, and they're trying to sell you spirituality, and they're doing a good ass job. That's why we buy into it, and everybody buys into all these things. So now you're getting sold a form of thinking, a mindset from somebody that has something to benefit from. It might not be money, it might be self-gain as far as notoriety and feeling like they're, you know, the man, but it is what it is. And it's not a sneak this it's not, because it's a lot of people out here. It's not just one person. It's a lot of people. I see this everywhere. I see social media accounts, like this new age of spirituality has really emerged a lot. So nah, DMT God. That's not my Lord and Savior. Nature is my Lord and Savior. Educate him about eating meat. Nah, I wouldn't go live with him, because he's not open to discussion. I'm only willing to discuss things with people who actually have an open mind and are receptive to other people's points of view. But I already know he's not. He's zoomed in on what he's on, and that's cool, you know. But I'm staying open because I'm always constantly learning and growing, and I actually give other people to present their point of view. You know, I'm not going to shut them down or try to belittle people. That's just not how I do things. But I know it's not going to be reciprocated, so I'm not going to put myself in that situation. DMT guy, you asking some really funny questions. What if the whole way around? Would you think it's okay to someone kill your kid and your wife and eat them? No, of course not. If I was in that situation, of course I would try to defend. Look, in nature, everything is already doing that. Even the animals are being defensive, but it's still going on. It's still happening, you know. Like, we can apply our ideologies, but it's still going on. It's not about and see, that's the thing. That's why I'm saying we look out into nature and we don't accept it for what it truly is. We're just trying to put our own ideologies into it. So you can try to make me feel bad or put some sort of sentiment into what you're saying, but it's not relevant, because in nature, people are animals and beings are too busy living and experiencing to be able to come up with these ideologies that you have all the time and luxury in the world to come up with, because being in tune with nature, and I feel like we're not ready to be in tune with nature. I really don't feel we're ready to be in tune with nature. We've developed too many pathologies and ideologies to be able to really commune with nature without all the distractions, you know. So I think it's a process that we're moving towards, and the more open we are and the more receptive we are to it, the more closer we'll get and the faster we'll get, you know. But it's just even like the herbivore, somebody sent me a video, herbivores eating meat. Like I said, it's not something that they do often, but they do it. And so I'm just saying, it's still a part of the diet. It might not be a big part of the diet, but it's still a part of the diet, and every part of the diet is important. That's why these indigenous cultures, they ate a variety of plants. They ate like hundreds of species of plants and animals, and we only eat, and the standard American eats about 16 different species of plants and animals. 16. These cultures, indigenous cultures, eating hundreds. So that's the difference. And what's in these plants, phytochemicals, different types of compounds, minerals, and nutrients that is in these plants and animals that's in the natural environment, that's in tune with the environment, is going to give you a lot more than these 16 domesticated plants that have been sprayed with glyphosate, you know. So it's a different way of looking at it, you know. When was the last time I ate meat? I ate salmon, some wild-caught salmon. It must have been over a month ago. It hasn't been. I haven't done it too much. I did it a couple times, and I just stopped doing it because I didn't feel like it was necessary. So when the time comes, I'm listening to my body, and this is what I was saying. Don't get so caught up in trying to be some type of way that you're not listening to your body anymore. Because what's more important to you is being part of this group, or listening to your body and being healthy and being the best version of yourself and being in tune with your own nature, because your own nature is your body. You got to know how your body works, the digestive system. And I'm gonna come out with a lot of videos because people got it twisted about the digestive system as far as digesting meat. They say that the human digestive system can't digest meat, but that's a myth. And I'm going to break down the myth and the origins of the myth and where it came from and what it's really trying to say, and about the canine teeth as well. There's a lot of myths going around that have been propagated from the early 1900s based on ideologies that weren't based in science, or real science, I say, for that matter. But we're coming out of the word works now. We're actually, doing the science. We're actually doing the detail work, because the devil is in the details. That still is a fact. And the more we peer into the details, the more we could discover actual truth. And, because the details, people get it twisted. They won't look in the details. They just take the headline, but you got to read the whole article to know what is really being said and read between the lines and all that, So that's what type of person that I am. I like to go into details. I got a lot of Virgo energy. If you want to look at it that way, I got a lot of energy that's directing towards the details, so it's always trying to find out all the information. Part of me is scared to not know. I want to know everything because I want to make sure that I don't get caught up not knowing. So part of my journey has been to investigate the nooks and crevices of information and what that entails, and through experience be able to learn and know it for myself. So yeah, well, to be honest, DMT God, I don't even believe in really in raising animals yourself. Like, I believe the animals that we do harvest should come from nature, should come from them living in their wild environment, and us actually needing that as a food source and harvesting it for the purpose of consumption to feed our bodies and give our body nutrition. But they should be in their natural environment, I believe, all the time. They should be enjoying the life and eating the food that they are supposed to be eating. And yeah, we can do that as a segue to get closer to that, but the animal domestication and animal agriculture, along with plant agriculture, has been the demise of civilization. And a lot of the things that's wrong with this planet is because we're using agriculture, and it's not just animal agriculture. And this is another thing I want to break down. The whole movie Cowspiracy is a flop. The information on there was distorted, and it was flipped and made into a way to look a certain way, but it's deeper than that. And that's why I said the devil's in the details. You got to look deeper. So I'm gonna break that down in the future. But they manipulated information and made it look a certain way, but actually is animal and plant agriculture as well that is destructive to the planet. It's not just exclusive to animal agriculture. So we gotta, we gotta be smart about this. Like, people are trying to sell you something all the time, and these companies slapping vegan labels trying to get you to buy it, but it's bigger than that, So just stay awake, stay aware. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, exactly. It should be like, if you're gonna eat an animal, I think people should be the one harvesting the animal from their environment, and it should be like a ceremony. It should be like a rites of passage to do this, And I don't know, something about me the other day. I was just running and I just felt like a primordial instinct, like if I was hunting. Like, if I was hunting, like, what would I do? Would I be able to keep up with this animal? Would I be able to do what it takes to harvest this food, And it was like there was some instinctual, primordial energy that I felt coming out of me. And it wasn't like a violence. It was just like a fulfillment of self, of being connected back to this practice that's ancient, that's been going on for thousands of years, but until recently has been cut off due to the fact that we developed animal and plant agriculture, and now we don't have to do that, but then we see what that's doing to the planet. So, but I do think it's something very sacred. It should be like a ceremony and a rites of passage for people to do this, and only when it's in time, it's only when it's right, and when it's available, and when it's necessary, and do it in the most sacred way possible, in the most conscious way possible, so that we use every single part of the animal. And when you look at it from that perspective, it's a whole different thing than eating fucking Big Mac from McDonald's. Like, but this the difference, people don't differentiate. Hey, Noah J, do you think we should consume dairy? I personally think some people should. Let me take that back. Some people could. I think there's actually a European descendants that have the enzyme to break down lactose that's in milk, meaning that they're not lactose intolerant. So over time, they developed a genetic modification or genetic evolution to be able to digest this milk compound called this lactose compound that's in milk. So then they can drink milk. But personally, I don't really do a lot of dairy, but if I did do dairy, I would do like raw goat milk, So, but I don't do dairy, So, am I still vegan? No, I'm not part of that group anymore. I'm just open to whatever I need for myself, my body needs, and my family needs. Yeah, I'm glad, we could all be part of this, and we could all talk about this. Dairy brings inflammation to the body. Ms. Red, I love me. That's actually a myth, and that's actually another thing that I want to talk about. It's all relative, because it's more about your genetics as well. There's a lot of things that play a role, and the kind of milk that you are getting and the mucus forming is due to that enzyme that people lack, So it's a genetic factor going on. But like I said, everybody wants to throw a blanket over everybody, and for some people, like, if you are European descent, you're gonna do good with dairy. It's gonna benefit your body. You're gonna be able to break it down because your ancestors actually work with dairy. They made dairy into what it is and developed side by side with dairy to be able to consume it, and evolutionary adapted to this food. So it's different, Yes, so for you, that is not the case, because your ancestors probably didn't have that gene, so you probably don't have that enzyme to be able to break down milk. So it causes inflammation in your body because it's being rejected, because that enzyme isn't present to break that molecule down. So see, I'm saying it's not one size fits all blanket for humanity, because we come from different environments. We've been isolated in different environments, and so thus we've adapted to different environments. But it's only recently, into modern times, that we've come and flocked to civilization, and we're all trying to eat the same thing, but we should only eat what's in our environment, and we should analyze and study where we came from, because this is only a recent happening, meaning that for the large majority of our evolution, or our human existence as in this current form, we have eaten a certain way, and only this tiny little sliver that's called modern day, we have changed that dramatically, and we have ate processed foods, we have ate a lot of heavy grains and beans and stuff like that. Even that is a detriment to the body. I believe that beans and rice, a lot of the times it's harder to digest than meat, you know, and actually I've experienced that, you know. Reflex and Sunshare, please tell me why you said we shouldn't mix our DNA with other animals' DNA, period. And so I could break that down, because maybe you're talking about microRNAs, and that in itself is debatable as well. Like, for every science that we see out here and the people talking science, there's another side to it, you know. And this is the issue, that until we actually go out into nature, we won't truly know. We'll be duped every single time, because even Bruce Lipton in epigenetics, there's a whole community of people who, scientists, who don't agree with him. So who are you gonna believe? You're gonna believe Bruce Lipton, or you're gonna believe another community? So it's like picking sides. But at the end of the day, are you actually out there doing it and living it for yourself? You know. So it's just so relative, you know. So I'm just gonna mix my tea before this gets cold. So that's why I just stay open, and I'm actually trying to live this by experience rather than through osmosis of words and people online, you know, giving their opinion, which is cool, and I'll take that into consideration. But let me actually live it and see how it feels on me in my experience, you know. That's the most important thing for me. What happened to not eating death? What happened to being energy, etc.? Well, most people are eating death. Most fruits and vegetables that you get in the grocery store aren't even ripe, and a lot of it has been frozen and has been actually thawed out over the year and doesn't contain the same nutritional value that it's supposed to contain. A lot of it actually has been domesticated and altered, so it has a high sugar content. It has a lot of less of the phytochemicals that it's actually would have had in nature, and a lot of the properties that are actually beneficial to the body. So it's already been tainted, you know. Even a plant-based vegan fruitarian diet is not really the standard anymore, or what it could have been in the past. So to me, that's the same thing, you know. It don't make a difference. Everything is energy, and as soon as you take something from its natural environment and take it out and ship it somewhere, or freeze it, or send it, or do something to it extra, you're already doing more than you're supposed to be doing. And to me, that's equivalent with death, you know. It might not be immediate, but over the long term, you're gonna reap the repercussions of that action. Yeah, you could, but most people talking aren't, you know. Most people giving opinions on this subject matter aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing, or aren't living the knowledge that they're supposed to be teaching. And that's the problem, that we don't do that we sit behind computers and try to be gurus for the world without trying to actually live it for ourselves. That's all I'm saying. I'm just trying to open a perspective. I'm not trying to dictate what humanity should be eating. I'm just questioning and putting questions out there into the universe to see, you know, what reflects back to me. And if that resonates with people, then so be it, you know. I ain't looking to be nobody's you know, master or nothing like that shit. We're just all trying to figure it out, really. Ain't nobody one person got all the answers, because we all came from a domesticated situation. We're all domesticated animals, just as domesticated as a cow is. We came from our prison system called civilization, with our social security number, that is our dog tag, and we are coming out trying to figure it out, you know. So yeah, that's exactly. I mean, I do want to grow my own food, but I also want to get it from this environment, and you know, wild food is the most supreme food that you can have. It hasn't been, the consciousness of man has not infiltrated wild food yet. So that's what I'm on, you know. You could be vegan all you want, but you eat a lot of food that man has put their consciousness into, and a lot of times that ain't good. So that's all I'm saying. Most of the fruits and vegetables are domesticated. That's why Dr. Sebi was preaching don't eat hybrid foods, because he was trying to get people to eat more wild food that hasn't been altered by man, because he understood to some extent the consequences of that, you know. And I believe that's why he did eat fish, because he was listening to his body at some point, but he also had a persona, or he had a online or a social presence that he needed to keep up. So he tried to hide that, because he knew people weren't going to be able to understand. But at some point, when you're listening to your body, and when you're in tune with the ancestors, when you're in tune with the earth, when you're in tune with nature for real, you do different than what's being touted in the mainstream, you know. So that's all I'm gonna say for today. I'm about to get off, drink this tea before it gets cold, put a little bit of honey on it, and enjoy. So I just strained it out and put it in this thing, and I'm gonna pour it back into the mug and enjoy it. All right, I hope you guys have a beautiful afternoon, beautiful day, wherever you're at, and just keep growing and keep learning, and most of all, stay balanced. All right, peace.